Little Governors, Balloon Mobile.
Go ahead.
We appear to have run out of fuel. We're at a herd of buffalo. We're about 1 kilometre away from the Ololo gates, just off the main road. Could you please send a rescue? If you don't get stressed here in Africa, things happen. But the minute you get stressed, that's when things never happen. So you just have to remain calm and enjoy.
Ellie Kirkham is a balloonist. In Kenya, a dream job. She loves the freedom that the many vacationers dream of who visit Kenya's Maasai Mara National Park for only a short time.
Bush life is what I really enjoy, the peace and quiet, the unexpected. You never know what's going to happen. With this wildebeest migration this year, I was sound asleep in my bed and I woke up to the snorting of wildebeest outside my window, and I had the wildebeest actually crossing at my front door across the river.
She moved to Kenya from Australia 8 years ago. When she got to Nairobi, she had no idea what sort of adventure she had set out on.
It was a definite culture shock for me. I mean, I hadn't been outside Australia first, so not many European faces, and very busy. It was busier than I expected, noise and loads of people around. I've always been up for a challenge, and this is a definite challenge.
For Ellie, it was a tall order. As the only woman among 20 male colleagues, she had to prove herself at her job. Now she belongs to the regular staff of a balloon camp and guides tourists through the air. Her normal working day begins at 5 a.m. It took Ellie a long time to get used to pilots' working hours. Because of the calm, cool air, balloon rides at Maasai Mara take place only in the early morning. She arrives at the takeoff area. The tourists are not there yet.
What's happening? You put it outside and...
I like this shorter, it's very nice.
Touch it again, please.
Very nice.
Cheers.
Cheers. So I'll go down and check the balloon.
Please, I'm not going to... Oh.
Although the balloon crew got everything ready while it was still dark, Ellie still has the final responsibility for safety during the balloon ride. Now everyone is needed. 12 mechanics and assistants make up Ellie's team. Using the crown lines, the men try to keep the balloons in a horizontal position as long as possible. The envelopes are first partially inflated with normal air.
Just checking all the lines to make sure they're not twisted, there's no knots, so all the pulleys are working fine. Everything looks good, so we're just about ready to go.
Now it's time to put on the heat. The hot air, which is light, will carry Ellie's balloon, including the passengers. It weighs some 2 tons.
Okay guys, we're just going to run through a few things this morning for your safety, but more importantly for my safety. Okay, firstly, in case you've forgotten, my name is Ellie, welcome aboard. Now, rule number 1, no smoking. No smoking, especially you two in here, okay? I think you might be a smoker, no smoking. We're away. Beautiful sunrise happening just behind us here. Oh, this is a beautiful morning. It's lovely and clear.
The balloon drops down low over the plain to let the guests have a good look at the animals. Time and again, this is also an unforgettable experience of nature for Ellie as well. At times like this, she recalls that she originally wanted to become a policewoman and would have led a completely different life.
In about 1994, I went for my first balloon ride in Alice Springs in Australia, and I enjoyed the balloon ride, but I liked the pilot better. So he's since become my husband, but he was also the one who taught me how to fly balloons. And I started driving the chase vehicles after my husband, who was flying the balloons, and then about 2 years of that, and then I started to learn how to fly balloons myself.
In the meantime, Ellie has accumulated more than 600 hours as a balloon pilot. To her, ballooning is the closest thing to the feeling of flying. Yet she wouldn't want to do it anywhere else than among this unique scenery. The balloon ride is over, much too quickly it seems. Landings can be quite rough, and not even Ellie can do anything about it.
Nick, just relax, we're going to go over, okay? So just stay in that position, just relax. Over we go, guys. Super, well done.
Was this a good landing, Ellie?
This was a good landing. Considering the amount of termite mounds we had around, it was a great landing.
Her helpers in the accompanying vehicles are so experienced that they are often able to predict the landing area. Often the table at the landing area is set even before the guests arrive. Breakfast in the middle of the wilderness, among gnus and giraffes. Here at Maasai Mara, there are more wild animals than hardly anywhere else in Africa. At 8 a.m. Ellie is already on her way home. Every day she looks forward to the half-hour drive.
This is their environment, and I'm just here enjoying it from the balloon. A healthy respect is required to live out here safely, but I am here because of the animals. This is what's brought me to Africa, to fly over the migration when we have it, to fly over elephants, zebra. I mean, you just can't get it anywhere else in the world.
Ellie's back at Governor's Camp. She flies every day in the summer, getting up at 5 a.m. and finishing work at 10. It's stressful, but she earns good money at it, enough to afford a few months' home leave in Australia every year. The luxurious tents are reserved for guests. Ellie stays at the very end of the camp. She requires no luxuries, it just needs to be comfortable. The only luxury she affords herself is a notebook, because of her family back in Australia.
I never watch the news channels. I don't read the newspapers unless there's anything particularly interesting in there. I figure if there's something to know, they'll let me know. I mean, I'll find out eventually, but just out here in the bush, it's so safe and such a quiet environment. I don't particularly want to know all the bad things that are going on in the world.
Hello, Ellie.
For the pleasure of opting out of the mainstream, she's had to pay the price of leaving her friends behind. But today's an exception, as her friend Erin is on holidays in Kenya and has promised to visit. They've not seen each other for 6 years. The two of them became acquainted in Kenya. Later, Erin moved to Las Vegas, and they've kept up the friendship throughout the years.
There's normally some hippos down there. I've got a resident croc as well.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen him for a while.
A little bit till you leave.
While others are still sleeping, Ellie has been in the air with the tourists, marveling at the animals for some time. With her trained gaze, Ellie immediately spots things the passengers did not notice. A giraffe, appearing wounded, can no longer walk properly. She radios the information to the camp. Time and again, animals walk into traps set by poachers.
Go ahead, Michelle. whenever we see a wounded or injured animal, we'll inform them and then they will come and sort the problem out if they can. If it's a man-made injury on the animal, for example, a wire snare, they'll bring the vet up from Mombasa, from the coast, and deal with the problem. If it's a natural problem, for example, abscesses, or if animals have been fighting and they have very big wounds, they'll generally let it work its course rather than intervene.
A few hours later, Dr. Kashmiri and Brian Heath from the Park Authority are in action. Thanks to Ellie's description, they soon find the giraffe. The animal did, in fact, stumble into a trap. The veterinarian prepares a tranquilizer dart. Unaided, the otherwise healthy giraffe would soon become easy prey for lions. The first shot penetrates. Despite a great deal of experience, Dr. Kashmiri appears nervous. The tranquilizer only works for a few minutes. The giraffe is unconscious. Every minute counts. It must not awake.
Don't touch the dart, please.
Complications. The sling is cut deep into the leg. A bolt cutter is needed.
All right.
Finished. Finally, the wound is disinfected. It's been 4 minutes since the giraffe collapsed. It is now time to wake it up. Dr. Kashmiri injects an antidote. This shortens the time needed for regaining consciousness.
Come on, Shachu. Okay, let's go.
The animal is still not safe.
I don't want this to come back.
The giraffe has a very long neck, and if it's not able to get up properly, if he goes up and he feels he comes back and hits his head on the ground, can fracture his skull. It's a very strong animal. It's unbelievably strong. So I just use that as a supportive rope when I let it go, that it doesn't hit back at somebody, and at the same time it is held, so it's easier for it to propel itself up.
The giraffe is still somewhat groggy, but is already standing steadily on its legs.
Left alone, it would have caused more severe problems. But the abrasions are pretty superficial. But of course, it was occluding blood to the lower limb. So once it's okay and we have treated it locally, shouldn't be any problem. Within a few days, she should be back to normal. All right?
Ellie is fascinated by the expanse and solitude of Kenya's bushlands. She doesn't know what it means to be homesick. She's living her dream.
Probably to spend the next 20 years out here in the bush. It's a great life, non-stressed, the flying's beautiful. I have no reason to go anywhere else. I found paradise.
Here in the bush of Kenya, she's a balloon queen. Far from the cold reality of everyday living, she presents tourists her realm.